Hello and welcome back to another FUTV special for Every United TV. I'm joined by Alice from Alice Talks Football. We are going to set ourselves a challenge, Alice, today. We're going to make three different Manchester United Ruben Amorim 11s with three different formations. We have to be adaptable to our opponents and we have to be clever with our selection. First of all, Alice, cheers for coming on again. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Adam, for having me on. Really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we've got three formations. We're just going to get straight into this. So it's the obvious 3-4-3. We've got a 3-5-2, and we're going to do the 4-2-3-1 as we are used to it so much, just in case he wants to mix it up a little bit. But obviously, first of all, Alice, I don't think we're ever going to argue about goalkeepers right now, are we? Just to get this one out of the way, does Onana start in every single team that we've got?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Bain-Deer, when he has played, hasn't impressed me. And I think Onana, shaky first season. But do you know what? I mean, the bar is quite low. He's probably been one in our top three performers this season.
I said alone, Alice, with Onana. I said that he's kept Ten Hag in the job most of the time that he did. Some of the saves, you think off the top of your head, the saves he made against Fenerbahce, the saves he made in that Crystal Palace game, that double save there, the penalty save against Southampton. My God, he prolonged Ten Hag's career, I feel, at Manchester United. He big impact this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think I said him and Mazraoui are probably two players that I don't really have any criticism of this season. I think everyone else, could have done a bit better. I think Casemiro, bar the Liverpool game, has been quite good. And then I said that Onana and Mazraoui have definitely impressed me. So I think Onana has to go and goal. I also think that maybe, hopefully, now he's got that confidence and first season out of the way, he can just continue to push forward and get better. And he can play out from the back a bit. He just needs to improve his long kicking. But yeah, no doubt that he's in goal.
Yeah, Onana goes in goal for every single one of his formations. Job done. That's that out of the way. Everybody is going to be available. I can't believe I'm saying it, Alice, but everybody is going to be available. So we can be realistic with who we actually select right now. And this is where this gets really, really interesting, because starting with the three centre-backs, we have touched on this before with what we might like to do with where Yoro plays. Right, let's just go in. Everybody's fit, Alice. You've got three centre-backs to put in at the back, left, middle and right. Just go with what your favourite is and what you think works best for the attributes of the player. So I will go off what you say. I'll touch in where I think. Let's see if you agree with what I agree with. But take it away, Alice. The first back three in our 3-4-3 formation to start with is...
I'm going to say Lisandro Martinez, left centre-back. There's been a couple of predicted lineups of him at central centre-back, but in Amorim's system, the left and the right centre-back are the ones that do like the build-up work, and the central centre-back more steps forward. I think that there was a lot of similarities between Martinez and Inacio, can fill in at left back. Sometimes the left centre-back turns to a left back at times. I think Martinez being left centre-back, the only competition for me is Luke Shaw for that position. But Luke Shaw will probably play 2 games and get injured for the rest of the season. So we have to be a bit realistic there. That is Martinez. I think the central centre-back is a difficult one, because I think Diamonde, I believe, plays mostly there for Sporting, and De Ligt is probably the most similar to Diamonde and is the central centre-back. But I think long-term that will be Yoro. I think De Ligt will be the central centre-back, and I think Yoro and Maguire will battle it out for the right centre-back. I think Yoro is better than Maguire. I think Yoro is going to be a top-level talent, but I think you just got to mould Yoro in. I think he'll probably compete with Maguire for the right centre-back spot when Maguire's back and fit. I think De Ligt takes the central centre-back spot, but I do think Yoro eventually could become the central centre-back. We might get a right centre-back. That's what I'd go with.
Yeah, 100% agree with the three. I look at what we've got there defensive wise, and that's my hope and my brightest sort of hope for the future. Like, I'm not stressing at all. Whereas defensively before, Alice, I have looked at Manchester United's defenders. I've said, look, I'm worried. I don't know how we get the best team out of this. I don't know who's good enough, but I actually look at it and go, we've got three that we know are definitely going in Evans, Lindelof and Maguire, hopefully, if Ineos do stick to their word and are cutthroat with getting players out that we need to, then we can actually look at real talent coming through and what we can bring into three already here for the next 5 years at least, as that trio, you could say, with their ages that they are. I mean, De Ligt's the eldest at 25. So really, you've got a good 5-year stint there of a solid back three, you could say. And if you add anything to that, then, well, yeah, I'm all for it. But I'm in complete agreement with you, Alice, on that back three. I would definitely interchange Yoro and De Ligt. I do think it works. I possibly do believe that Dalot or Mazraoui could, in an emergency, play as one of the back three as well, but no need to worry about that because, touch wood, everyone in that back line has been quite quite healthy this season so far,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. Totally agreement. There is our back three. It is Martinez, Yoro, and De Ligt, obviously. Wing backs, Alice. Is there much of an option here? And this is where I'm going to test you right now. You can be as adventurous as you want to with this one, Alice, because there are options in this wing back scenario. And yes, do drop into the youth if you want to, and be a little bit, let's just say, let's be a little bit daring with our selections here. So left and right wing backs for the 3-4-3, Alice.
This is definitely one of the most difficult positions to pick, because I do think that Dalot and Mazraoui aren't exactly wing backs. I think they're very much four at the back system players. Now, right now, I think if I had to pick a right wing back, I would go with Mazraoui. I think he's been better than Dalot this season. I do like Dalot, but I just think he's not always been the best going forward. Defensively, he's not been as good this season. He's lost his man a couple of times. I think for safety and security, I'd probably go Mazraoui right wing back. Now, there is a guy in the academy called Mantato. I think he, in terms of being able to play right mid and right back in the academy, and he's even played on the left, I think he is definitely one to watch. And I think he's one that you might see get on the bench, get here and there. You've seen with Coenda at Sporting, Amorim will take a risk on a young player. And, it's hard to know how ready he is. But I think in terms of young players, he could be there. There is talk of Garnacho right wing back or Anthony right wing back. But I don't know if Garnacho is... I think Garnacho has the work rate to be a right wing back. I just don't know if he's got the defensive qualities for that. I think Anthony's more likely to transition into a wing back, but I don't think he's just good enough going forward anyway. So I'd probably go Mazraoui for right wing back to be safe. I wouldn't be shocked though if Mazraoui does eventually, or Dalot even, become a right centre back, and then we might see someone like Garnacho at right wing back, and then maybe when we attack, because Mazraoui or Dalot is the right centre back, they then, Amorim's done this before, they then become the right back, so then Garnacho's sort of the right winger, but lines up as the right wing back. So I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen that. But I think just for make it easy, I'll put Mazraoui right wing back. I think left wing back's difficult. I think that is priority in the summer or even January, 100%. Luke Shaw, this is the question: can he stay fit? Probably not. Is he gonna make one run and pull his hamstring? If Luke Shaw could stay fit and give the energy that we've seen him give, when he's good, it would be Luke Shaw. I do think he's better going forward than Malacia. Again, Malacia, he's been out 18 months. I'd honestly, right now, part of me would just look at Harry Amas, take that risk because it is quite an attacking role. There obviously is Dalot if we're playing Mazraoui one side. For me, it's between Harry Amas and Luke Shaw, depending on what Luke Shaw does, how fit he is. I think if Luke Shaw's not raring to go, maybe we do take the risk on a Harry Amas, because, we could play Mazraoui left wing back, Dalot right wing back, or Mazraoui left wing back and could try Garnacho right wing back. But I'd probably say Shaw and Mazraoui on paper is our strongest, but you just don't know with Shaw.
Well, there you go there, Alice. Not even a mention of Dalot really in that. Well, there is a little bit, but I feel like, do you know what? I'm going to call it. It's our show. We can do what we want. And I'm going to say we're having Amas. I'm going to put Amas in at left wing back. We know that Ruben Amorim isn't afraid. We've seen Quendo obviously play at 17. Amas being the same age. We need to start playing him sooner or later, because we've got Villa sniffing around. And I said this in the show the other day, Alice, even these like Mantato, like you said then, these young players that are on the fringes, and people are like, let's not rush them in too soon. I get that totally. I've said that before myself, but we have done it to other clubs. Look what we did with Obi Martin. We did it with Koenig. Yeah. We're actually buying younger players into our academy. So there's no reason why another club won't do it to us. So realistically, sooner or later, we are going to have to find out if they are the real deal, I feel. And with this rotation system, if the intensity is that much, I can see Amas interchanging this in with Luke Shaw, maybe even Dalot, maybe even another left-hand side, Malacia. We need to have 2 or 3, I think, for each position, especially them hard-working wing-back roles. And I think we have got that. So I'm really confident in actually putting Amas in there. I think that he can play a key role. And I'm only putting there ahead of Luke Shaw because I feel like he is going to be more available. Simple as. And please do, everybody, get into the comments below and let us know if we are being too crazy with this. Do you agree with Alice? Can we see Mantato this season as well? There is a chance with Amorim coming in. Onto the midfield, Alice. Here we go. Okay. I think we know definitely one name. I'll let you take the floor with it, obviously, first of all, again. But the 2 in midfield in front of the back 3, obviously, we know this interchanges a lot. Just for the sake of setting up a team on the screen, we're just going to put 2 midfielders in between there. Who are them 2 midfielders for you, Alice?
Agate and Maino, I think, will be it. I think Agate obviously played under Amorim before, so that's sort of an obvious one. And I think with Maino, he is what Ineos want to build around. I think they brought Agate in because they wanted to build around Maino. They wanted a partner for Maino. And there was talk in the summer that Ineos were planning their rebuild around Kobbie Maino. Some people are saying that Kobbie Maino could play in the front three, but no, I think he would be in that pivot with Agate. I mean, potentially because he's coming back from injury and stuff, you might see Agate Casemiro, Agate Eriksson. Collier could always get a couple opportunities. You never know. I think Mount and Bruno could play with Agate in the pivot, but I do think they would be better in the front three in terms of Amorim's system. So I think Agate and Maino is probably what it will be.
You know what? I've said this is where it's going to be. I said we're going to probably build around Mainu. This will be the future of the club. Obviously, Casemiro's there, but you just mentioned Casemiro and Collier there. We're talking about rotation, the system, Alice. When Collier's back, you've got 4 players there for them 2 roles alone to interchange and keep fresh, keep the intensity up, whether it's subbing them players on, resting one for a full game, playing another off. We've got options. And with a fully fit squad, this looks like a different United team. This is why we're going to make top 4. I keep telling people, Liz, that we're going to make top, and they just don't listen to me. I don't know why. Maybe because we've been absolutely awful the last bleeding 2 years, but
not far off, to be fair.
We're only 4 points off third. That's ridiculous to say that. I cannot believe it in how this season has panned out.
If only we beat Palace, we'd be 2 points off because we should have beat Palace. Just those 2 points off third, we'd be thinking, damn.
Yep. And do you know what? We beat Palace and we didn't get a penalty decision against us, so it shouldn't have been against West Ham. You're in the top 4.
That's mad. I don't know how, because we'd have been like, we've been crap, but we're in the top 4. But it's actually
when you look at it that way, oh my God, like reality that slaps you in the face there. It's like, wow.
Fine margins.
Didn't see. Yeah, very, very fine margin. But still, it doesn't take away the fact that we can't score goals, and we have been awful in that department until Rude came in anyway. But speaking of goals, Alice, we're into the front 3. So we're going to work with the 2 10s first of all. Now, competition for places, this hots up big time. Actually, go with your front 3, Alice. I think we need to just work out the best. So this is our best team. We're going into the most important games of the season. I think this is our best team to start us off. Who are your front 3 in them positions as the shadows and the 9 and the double 10? Who are we going for?
Do you know what? This is the hardest one because I think it's about how they actually adapt to the way Amorim wants to play in the system. I think on paper, it's between Rashford and Højlund for the striker spot. I think Xerxes would be a number 10 in the system because his striker's got to be quick. He's got to be running in behind. I think it is between Rashford and Højlund for the striker spot. I think because Højlund is more naturally a striker, we've tried Rashford at striker before and he's not maybe as physical as Højlund with his back to goal. I think Højlund will start as the striker, but I do think with Rashford, he's got a bit more experience to him. If Rashford gets in form, he could give Højlund competition. But I'm going to go with Højlund as the striker, I think. And then the 2 10s, I think Ahmad's got to be one of the 10s. Because I think you could play Rashford as potentially a 10 because he's almost like one's a 10 and one's a right forward in the system. Also, one could be the left forward, one could be the 10. But I think because of how Ahmad played at Sunderland, him being almost that a right-sided 10 at Sunderland, he wasn't a touchline winger like Ten Hag wants to be. He was playing very much in the half space. I think that does suit Amad Diallo. And then I think the other one, and obviously, he didn't have the best start to the season, but he looked very good under Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think would be Bruno Fernandes because he is the captain. He is the guy that can make a difference. You need people. I know people get frustrated that Bruno gives the ball away and he was really crap on the 10-0, but you need game winners and Bruno is someone that can make a moment to win a game. So I think I would probably go Bruno and Ahmad as my 10s for sure.
Yep, I agree, Alice. I feel like that would be my team going out. In terms of the front 3, we've got options. Obviously, we can mix that up any way we want. I mean, just to have Xerxes, Garnacho and Rashford on the bench.
Yeah, even Mount.
You've got Anthony there as well. Mount, we can't, Mount's fit as well, and we can't fit him in this side. If everybody does stay fit, there is a serious possibility that Manchester United will make the top 4. I'm telling everyone this now. It is a good side, and if he gets the best out of these players, look, we've got Champions League winners, we've got Premier League, we've got everything in this side here that can compete, and I just look at it and go, yeah, you know what? It's on. It's definitely on. Obviously, it's a big if as long as everyone stays fit, but still, we have got an opportunity there. That is the team up on the screen. That is our first 11 So Amorim in, that's our 11. My analysis, what we're going for. Obviously, make sure you get in the comments, everybody, and let us know if you would change anybody up from that. And maybe this next formation, the 3-5-2, Alice, you could bring in a different player or two into this one. So quickly, to start us off on the next formation, 3-5-2 as another option, let's try and mix up the players a little bit. In the back three, obviously the keeper stays the same with Onana. The back three, Alice, is there anyone else you would think with that extra bit of protection in front of him you would bring in, possibly, and rest one of the original back three? Is there anyone you would bring in, ideally, for what we've got this season?
I still think our best back three will be Euro, Martinez, De Ligt. I do think because of Euro's inexperience, Maguire could go in there. He has a bit of experience. Like, I think that now Maguire's not captain and that pressure isn't on him. I do think these last 2 seasons he's been a lot better when he plays. He did well in a back three for England. And then I also think, Luke Shaw, Dalot could always fill in as a right centre-back, left centre-back. Mazraoui seems to play every position. But I think the back three for me would be Euro, Martinez and De Ligt.
Yeah, keeping the same ones. No one changes. We've got options to bring them on, but we're going to move forward with the three at the back as we have with the original formation, the 3-4-3. So let's go with that. Midfield. Let's do the wing backs again. I fancy changing these up a little bit now, actually. Who would you go in say, for instance, in a middle five, Alice? Who would you have in as your widest players on that one? Considering you've got probably extra cover in the middle.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Garnacho left wing back.
I like
because
that.
there's going to be that extra cover. But I'm going to have Mazraoui as my right wing back, so then he can change to a back four in game. Martinez can become the left back, De Ligt and Euro can become the centre backs. Mazraoui can become the right back, so he can make those in-game changes to a back four. But it will be a back five with Garnacho being the left wing back, Mazraoui being the right wing back. And if he wants to go to a back four, the option is there. If he wants to go to a back five, I think it's there. I think Garnacho's energy, now there's a bit more protection, I think would be of good use.
I like it. I do. I think that works for me. I like Garnacho's energy there. He's got extra cover when needed. And I think this brings in the middle three midfielders now for helping the likes of Garnacho out, because I feel Mazraoui can obviously tuck in as well. Defensive-minded player. You've obviously got 3 centre-backs there. So there's 4 defenders. And I think this determines what we actually play in this midfield now. Do you reckon this is a formation, first of all, he might try if he's coming up against the better side, Alice, as well, in terms of just being a bit safer?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Ollie do that a couple of times against Man City. He went to a back five.
Worked a treat, didn't it?
Yeah, Ollie used to always beat Pep. It was like, whenever we played Man City under Ollie, I was like, we'll win this. And it was the back five that played a part.
I know what you mean by that. It was crazy going into them games. Like, we were crap everywhere else, like, literally. But you went into the big games with Ollie. And sometimes Van Gaal, like, you always thought you were going to win with Van Gaal in them big games. You just had something. But very, very clever in how they set up. It was perfect for counter-attack. And I think this formation could be. Them 3 midfielders, how are you going with it? What do you reckon, Alice?
This one's really difficult because I think Maino and Agate are the fundamentals. Agate because he can cover the ground, and I think one of the reasons Casemiro's look better is because Agate is sort of covering the ground and giving Casemiro a bit more license to go forward. So I think Agate for his intensity is important. I think Maino has to be the second one because of his quality. Yeah. And then the third one is difficult because I think, you could put Casemiro in there and actually have Maino playing a bit more advanced out of the 3 with his quality. Has been good. And then Bruno, you could have him play a little bit deeper. I still think Bruno's better closer to goal, but I don't want him as a striker in a 3-5-2. So for me, it's between Bruno and Casemiro. I do think Mount and the intensity that he brings, because we signed Mount for his pressing and his off the ball work, I think he can play a part, but because we've seen so little of Mount, it's 2 games out for 6 weeks, 2 games out for 6 weeks. I really am struggling with Mason Mount because I need to see more of him. So it's a debate between Bruno and Casemiro for me. I'm going to go with Bruno just because he can run and a bit more than Casemiro, and I'm just thinking the intensity, the work rate. Yep,
okay, I like it. So Casemiro doesn't make any of the sides. Bruno Fernandes comes in the 3 with Mainu probably, you could say, you could have Agate sat in front and then 2 midfielders in front of him.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? But yeah, I get that. Bruno in for, Bruno in Casemiro's place, you could say. Again, interchangeable with what we've got options-wise, yeah. And then there's 2 up front, officially 2 strikers. I think this is a no-brainer. I don't know about you, Alice. I would like to see Rashford play alongside Højlund as that ultimate. Like, you've got one player there that can hold the ball up, or he's getting better at holding the ball up, that is still strong and quick. And then you've got someone like Rashford to back him up with the speed as well. Would you go with that, or would you play Ahmad off Højlund or vice versa, whichever way you want to do it with Rashford as well?
I'd go with Rashford and Højlund because I'm thinking running in behind, that's what you need. Part of me would like to see Xerxes and Højlund together, but I don't think that is the role for Xerxes, the running in behind. If it was more of a sort of 3-5-1-1, you'd maybe have a look at Xerxes or someone. But I think split strikers, Højlund, Rashford, I think that's quite self-explanatory, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm going with. And that is our team with a 3-5-2. Again, everybody get in the comments. Would you swap any of them players out? So let us know about the wing backs on these as well, because I think are key positions. I think everything in midfield rotates perfectly. I've not got a concern as long as everybody's fit. But I'm happy that we have got players that are playing well now, that I feel confident in coming in and replacing what we would say are the better players as well. Like, for instance, Casemiro coming in now for Aminu or an Agate. I'm not too concerned about that because he's playing well. And hopefully Amorim utilises Casemiro's qualities as well, because there is leadership and experience in that side there with Casemiro in it. So I wouldn't be put out by having any of that combination of midfield with Casemiro, Mainu, Agate. I like all of them right now. So yeah, let's move on to the last formation, Alice. The old faithful, the 4-2-3-1, back four. Now we have to change it up a little bit, Alice. Is it that obvious with fullbacks again because it's a flat back four for you?
I think we'd probably go Delo right back, Mazraoui left back, just because that's what we've seen this season. But I think I'd want to slowly integrate Luke Shaw back in, because I do think Luke Shaw as a left back is our best option, even though he's not fit, even though he's got to go in the summer. I've always felt that Rashford has looked better as well when Luke Shaw plays, the overlap, what he provides. So I think it is Luke Shaw and Mazraoui for me. But to start with, it might be Luke Shaw, Delo, and then Luke Shaw's gently kind of moulded back in, because he's been out for so long that it's,
Actually, Alice, I've got a question for you there. So you've brought Luke Shaw back in, you've integrated him back in. Who's your right back, Delo or Mazraoui? When everyone's fit,
Mazraoui right now. I like Delo, but I just think Mazraoui's been better. And
it's crazy to think that we were actually ditching Delo now, because this shows how good Mazraoui has been since he's come into the side. It's credit to him. And I'm still going to hold out that Mazraoui was the signing of the summer.
Oh, so was it 13 million or something?
Ridiculous.
I knew it was good, but I had concerns because of injuries and stuff. He's not got injured yet, touch wood, but technically good, can invert, can overlap, can defend, can attack. When a Bayern Munich fan said to me, Mazraoui's good, I don't know why we're selling him, the only problem with him has been injuries, there's nothing he can't do. I was like, maybe he's overhyping him. He was like, no. He was saying to me, no serious Bayern fan would sell Mazraoui other than the injuries. They said he's good. And that's
crazy. Thank you, by the way, Bayern. Thank you. Centre backs. We have to pick two. Tough.
Tough.
It's easy with three, isn't it? You don't feel like you're putting anyone out, but with two, I suppose the obvious answer to this for me, Alice, would be I've not seen Euro yet in a United shirt properly. Do we just go right now if we're deciding? I would start with Martinez and De Ligt personally, because I just don't know with Euro yet. I know he's going to be a talent. I know he's going to be good, but I just feel like we need to give this to their flowers. We have got quite a few clean sheets this season with them two at the back as well.
Yeah, I think bar the Porto game and the Liverpool game, I think they've not really had a bad game. There's only two. I really like Euro, and I think long term I can see him taking De Ligt's place in terms of his potential and stuff. But when you with De Ligt, what he brings is he's won Serie A, he's won the Bundesliga, he's won the Eredivisie, he's a leader, he's captained Ajax at age 19. And I think this team lacks leaders. There's a lot of inexperience in other positions. So as much as I like Euro and I prefer the profile of player that Euro will be, I think it has to be De Ligt and Martinez, because I think with Euro, it's just about integrating him in. I think I think he did well in Liga and really well, but it is just about integrating him in. You look at a lot of other youngsters, like Lewis Hall last season was really slowly integrated in for Newcastle, or maybe should have had more minutes, to be honest. But this season he's been really good. Now he's got his England call up. I think people got to remember that Euro turned 19 yesterday, I believe. So it is about integrating him in slowly, not throwing him in the deep end. And I actually said, weirdly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe his injuries benefit him a bit. He's got a bit of time to get used to the Manchester surroundings, his teammates, He doesn't have to play under Ten Hag ball, which has made, when we drew 3-3 to Porto and De Ligt and Martinez had a mare, I said that they got no protection from the midfield. The setup left them exposed. And if Euro played that game, he'd have got hounded online. Everyone would have been writing him off after one game. The media, because he went to Man United, not Real Madrid, not Liverpool, everybody wants him to fail. That's almost good that Euro's going to get that protection. And I think you have to go with De Ligt and Martinez and then mould Euro slowly in, I think.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting if we change this up at all into midfield as to like what we've seen working under Van Nistelrooy recently. Casemiro and Agate have been outstanding. Alice, would you change anything up in that holding two, knowing that you've got a few more options further forward? Is it, when we play this formation, a tried and trusted sort of method with the players in there, or do you think Amorim's going to try and mix this up at all? It's
difficult because I've really liked Casemiro and Agate together. I think it's worked well. I think Casemiro, Agate, Bruno's sort of been that midfield three in the 4-2-3-1, but Bruno's been almost coming more into a striker role, and sometimes it's more of a 4-4-2. It's difficult because I really like Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's the future of this club, and I think we have to look at it and think Casemiro has been good. If he continues to be good, he will play. But because of the intensity Amorim plays out, there will be subs, there will be rotation. I think you've got to look at it from the long-term perspective of Casemiro, is he going to be here in 2 years? No. Could Mainoo be in 2 years and our best player? Yes. So I think it's got to be Agate and Mainoo, but I think Casemiro is going to heavily be rotated in and out that too. And then I think Bruno takes the 10 row ahead. There is talk of Mainoo being a 10 and potentially Casemiro and Agate deeper. I think Mainoo could be a 10, but I still think he's more of an 8. There is talk of Mason Mount, but it's a bit like Lenny Euro. Even though we've had Mason Mount for a year, we've just not seen enough of him to know. So I think I'd go with Agate, Mainoo, Bruno, but Casemiro definitely can push that.
Yeah, I look at Bruno there in front of them too. I think there is, well, you could say we effective when I look at that, Alice, and we're talking about getting through this season and maybe into next season. Out of that midfield there, we're actually looking at Bruno's replacement next, aren't we? That's who we're looking at as the future, because Bruno's the eldest out of them. And it just goes to show how it sort of evolves the team as it goes through the years. And you take for granted the age of some of these players, like Agate and Mainoo, 23 and 18. They're again, like the defence behind them, we've got years and years and years here of progress and stability, I feel. And this is where a recruitment setup and a structure at a football club comes in. And you look at it there, look, you got De Ligt, you got Leacher, obviously you got Euro, you've got Agate, and you've got Mainoo. That's all the last 2 years. And it actually looks like a structure being put in place. He's looking at the future and actually giving these players a chance to actually build a rapport and actually understand each other's games and actually build a team rather than bringing in the individuals into it. And Bruno, I think now that's the next big one. I think looking at Bruno and Rashford's replacements are key, massive. And the left-hand side, I would say, in terms of Luke Shaw's proper replacement as well. They're the areas I feel that United have to really attack 100%. In the recruitment area.
Cole Palmer would be a dream to replace Bruno.
I'm going to have to move on to our wide players quickly because I can't get into that conversation. Is it obvious the players either side of Bruno?
I'd say Ahmad, Rashford on the wings. But that's a difficult one because intensity, you think Garnacho. Now, I think Rashford is a better player than Garnacho, but I think Garnacho has been better lately. He brings the intensity. I like Garnacho, and I think that he's been getting a bit too much stick online. I think he's been wasteful the last few games, but I think with Garnacho, we are a little bit overplaying him, giving him 90 minutes starting every single game. I think he started like 36 games in a row last season under Ten Hag. And I think when Garnacho is fresh, he's so much better. When his minutes were managed for the first 6, 7, 8 games of the season, he was really good. So I think Ahmad, no doubt, is right side. Like Ahmad, there's no doubt about that. He's on the right. It's between Garnacho and Rashford for the left. Anthony doesn't get in the conversation for me. And I think, to be honest, the best way to go about it is to just rotate them a lot. Because I think keeping Garnacho fresh, he's best. I think Rashford is a better player than Garnacho. But Rashford is looking like he doesn't want to take on his man. He's just going to put a lazy cross in. I really do rate Marcus Rashford. I thought he had started to look quite good this season, and then Ten Hag just put him on the bench. You know, he scored versus Barnsley, scored versus Porto, was beating his man, was terrorising players. Then Ten Hag put him on the bench and started playing him as a right mid and asking him to stay back. I don't know why he did that. He did. Garnacho, when he comes off the bench, always makes an impact. I would start Rashford, but I think if he doesn't perform, Garnacho easily takes that place, and I would rotate them. But Ahmad on the right for sure.
Yeah, and Rasmus up front.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you look at how Amorim plays, Rasmus suits it better. And I think with Ahmad, him being a more creative winger, that actually, if you look at his creative stats compared to other wingers, his chances created per 90, Højlund might get a bit more service with Ahmad playing rather than having Garnacho on the right, Rashford on the left, who are quite direct.
I think that we did actually really well there. But it's an interesting one just to finish off this video, actually, Alice. We just picked out 3 formations. They're going across the screen right now. In them formations, we haven't once put these players: Casemiro, Mason Mount, Joshua Zirkzee, Antony, Luke Shaw. We could argue a little bit, but he's not really effectively made it in because of the reality of the situation with injuries. Harry Maguire, Diogo Dalot, Johnny Evans, Victor Lindelof. I'm not even sure if I've missed anyone on that list, but
it's a good bench. There's 3 or 4 that are debatable. Like Casemiro is very debatable. I think Mason Mount.
If we add Collier to this and a goalkeeper, we've got another 11 that we've not even picked, Alice, for any of these formations.
The depth is actually okay at this club.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's like a myth, isn't it?
It's like we've had so many injuries and Ten Hag ball was so bad that everyone was looking so bad that actually maybe these players aren't as good as we think they are. We might find that out under Amorim. But I think that we've got quite a good squad. It's just that left wing back is needed. And if we can learn how to score goals again, and Højlund got 16 goals last season, Rashford's had 30 goal seasons in the past. It's definitely there. Garnacho's numbers are getting up. I think 100%. Confidence with Garnacho will be a massive thing as well. I think if we can learn to score goals again, I think we're in a good place.
We definitely are. And that is us out of time, Alice. What a show. That flew by. Absolute pleasure going through them teams with you there, Alice. Great input and great knowledge as well. Again, with the youth team as well. I love talking about the youth team and the possibility. Honestly, I just look at them teams and I look at the players that are missing and I look at the youth that could come in as well.
So exciting.
No one's telling me we're not making top 4, Alice, but I'll keep winding people up saying it. Yes.
If we get it.
Alice, absolute. Yes, it's true. Absolute legend. Thank you for coming on. Do you want to just give the people a shout out to your channel? It is in the description as well, everybody.
Yeah, big up, Adam. Thanks for having me on. Enjoy today's show. Hopefully we get top 4, as Adam says. Make sure you hit that like button for Adam. But yeah, just search up Alice Talks Football on YouTube. Probably same on Twitter, TikTok as well, and you'll find me on there.
And that is us all done, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Make sure you give the video a like. You have subscribed to the channel. Hit that bell notification button. And from me and Alice, we will see you in the next special between us, talking all things Manchester United. But for now, that is it, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers.